Hello, let's start with the variable. So variable is a label that holds the memory location of an object which may change over the time. So suppose we are declaring variable a and assigning it an integer value 1212. So what happens is an integer object containing value 1212 is created inside memory, and the location of memory is stored inside the variable a, which is just a label. Now if you pay attention here, PyCharm is complaining about missing white space around the operator. So when we are declaring a variable, after variable name leave one space, and after equals to also leave one space. So that is how the variable declaration is done in Python. If we execute it inside Python console, it will execute it and it will also remember the variable declared with its value inside the Python console. So when we execute next instruction or next statement which uses the variable a, it will use that variable to print it. To print it, we have used variable a name. So it prints 1212. So Python console remembers the variable value declared or manipulated until and unless it is closed or stopped. Now you may wondering about the size of integer variable. So in Python there is no restriction on the integer variable's length. So in some other language like Java, if you need a large number, you need to declare the variable as long instead of integer. So they have two types of integers, integer and long. But in Python there is no such restriction. According to the value which is assigned to an integer object, size of an integer object varies. Okay, it can be even larger than 64-bit in Python. So next type is float. Float represent values such as interest rate, profit percentage and amount in your bank account. So let's declare the float value. So as we can see, variable b is declared and here also it has remembered. So next type is string. As you have seen earlier in Hello World, string contains a text values such as name, address or lines of books. So strings can be of two types, either single line string or the multi-line string. Single line strings are declared within single quotes or the double quotes. So hello world in single quotes or the double quotes. They both have same meaning as we saw earlier. Okay. And multi-line string is declared using triple quotes. So line 1, line 2. Same goes for triple quotes using the double quotes. So all of these strings are valid declaration of string type. Next value is boolean. Boolean can be either true or false, such as exam result, pass or fail, or electric switch, which can be on or off. It can hold value true or false. Remember that T in true and F in false are capital. Next is name of variable. So variable name must begin with either alphabet A to Z in small and A to Z in caps, or with the underscore. So first letter of the variable name must be an alphabet or an underscore, and the rest of the variable name may contain numeric value 0 to 9 in addition with alphabets and underscore. No special characters are allowed in variable name. And last thing is variable names are case sensitive. So variable a equal to 15 and a equal to 20 are two different variable in Python, As we can see here, a equal to 20 and capital A equal to 15. Both are treated as different variable. So these are the some of the valid variable names. V1 equal to 12, interest rate equal to 4.5, and balance equal to 12,000. So these variable names follow the given rules and they are valid, but these variable names are not valid. As you can see, the PyCharm complains about it because the variable name begin with the digit and this variable name begins with the special character, and this also begins with digits. So these are the invalid variable names. Moving on to the constants. So constants are the variable which initialized and declared once. They never change their value throughout the program. So in other languages, the constant keyword const, constant, or other keywords are used to declare the variable as a constant and assign the value at the declaration which cannot be changed. In Python, there are no restriction on the variable. So any variable declared once and assigned value cannot be declared as a constant. It can change at any time. Okay, but for the developer reference only, we declare the variable name in capital letters to symbolize that this variable is a constant. So other developers seeing that name does not modify it. So this is a normal variable, but it is given name in caps so that we can identify as a constant variable. So it is just a naming convention, but in reality it is not a constant variable in Python. Next is checking the type of variable. So type function is used for checking the type of variable. So we will write print the type of variable pi. Okay, if we execute it, it will return the class of which the object is pointing by the variable. So pi variable is pointing to the float object 3.14, which is object of class float. Same way we will check the type of all variable a, b, c, d we have declared earlier. The type of variables. So first a variable is declared as a int, class of int. Then float has class float, string has class str, and boolean has class boolean. Now the variable is once declared, as we have defined in definition, it holds the reference which may change over the time. So we can reassign that reference over the time, and now we will reassign them. As we can see here, a is copying the memory reference which is pointed by c. So c is pointing string object. So strings object's reference is copied from variable c to variable a, and likewise. Now b is copying the boolean and c is copying the float value. If we execute it, and after executing it, if we check the type of object it pointing to, it changes. So as we saw earlier, a was pointing to the int object, now it is pointing to string object. So we have changed the reference of variable which declared initially with the different type. In Python, chain assignment is allowed. So multiple variables can be declared at once and initialized in single line. So how to do it? Suppose we want to initialize two variable a and b with value 15. So this is how it is done. A equal to b equal to 15 will initialize, first of all declared if it is not declared, and initialize value to 15. Instead of writing two statement a equal to 15 and b equal to 15, we have just written a single line and it will declare and initialize both variable. As we can see here, a is 15 and b is 15 is declared. Moving on, shorthand assignment. In order to add some value to the same variable, suppose we want to add variable b to variable a, so we will generally write a equal to a plus b. So what it does is it performs addition of value of an object which is pointed by variable a and b and create a third object in memory, and its reference is passed again back to the variable a. So we are writing variable a's name two times. In order to avoid it, we can use shorthand assignment a equal to a plus b. So write the operator which can be plus, minus, modulo, division before the equals to, in order to avoid rewriting the same name. Okay, so it will perform the same operation. So as we can see, after performing addition 15 plus 15, it will store new integer object reference inside the variable a, which is pointing to 30 value. Python also allows multiple assignment and declaration of different types. So the multiple assignment is not restricted to either single value. So this is change assignment and declaration, but multiple variable declaration and assignment can also be possible in the single line. So how it does, a, b and c. Suppose we want to initialize three variable a, b and c with different types of value within single line. This is how we can do. So it will initialize a with 122, b with good morning string, and c with float value. Now if we execute and print the values of variables, it will print those value, and as you can see here, a is holding the given values. Now swapping values of two variables either required a temporary variable, or you need to perform addition and subtraction in order to avoid a third variable to swap the values. Okay, but in Python you just write single statement in order to swap the values between two variables. Suppose a is holding 15 and b is holding 20, and in order to swap the value, we just write it a and b equal to b a, and if we print the values of two variables, as you can see, we have declared a 15 and 20, and it after assigning it will change to 20 and 15. It is swapped. Okay, so in order to compare the value held by an object which is pointed by the variable, we use double equals to as a comparison operator. So what it will do is, it is applied to between two variables, and it will go to the memory address of an object which is pointed by the variable and extracts its value and then compare it between two variables, and that result is given in a boolean value. Either they are equals, then true, or else it is false. So let's see the output. So a, b and c are declared with their respective values, and if we perform a equal to b, it will give false. A equal to c, it gives as true. Same comparison operator can be applied to float value, boolean, or the string value. As you can see, A and B are not equal and B and C are equal strings. Next thing is none. None is a special value which represents the absence of any value, or we can say in other language it is defined as a null value. So how it is declared? A is equal to none. None is a keyword. So if we execute it, A is declared as a none. And if we check its type, it is an object of class none type. Now in order to remove a variable from the memory after declaration and initialization, delete keyword is used, del. After del, we write the name of variable in order to remove it. So after removing any variable, if we try to access it, it will raise an error, name error, that variable name is not defined. But before deleting and after initialization, variable can be referenced. So let's execute it. So as we can see, A is declared 15, and after printing statement, it will print the value. After it we have deleted the variable, and if we try to access it in any way, it will give you name error that variable A is not defined.